Welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to take a look at Community Report 70 for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. This was released on the 20th of March 2023. Now, this is a big one, and it's going to be a game changer, is probably an understatement, to be honest. But I'm not going to go into any more detail. What I'm going to do is just go through the report. We're going to talk about it as we go through, and then at the end, I'll try and pull it all together in my own head, but there is a lot to take in this report, so we might as well just get stuck here straight in. It says, greetings dear comrades of the Soviet Republic. Finally the website is back online and we can have the reports that we used to make them before. Do not worry, we are not going to replace the team by some kind of bot or AI. We do not want to lose our contact with the community members. We are still listening and reading your feedback and suggestions, and today we have something many of you have been asking for: information about the current state of the new research tree that we are planning to add to the game in the upcoming content update. There is quite a few interesting items in the tree that you will enjoy in the future that you did not have access to before, but it will also be restricted by locking access to certain features and technologies in the early game. And I think that is a little bit of an understatement. Now, the next picture is a picture of the existing universities. I'll just show it to you quickly. And I think the one in the back is the technical university. The one on the left is the medical university. And I think the one on the right here is the communist HQ. I must admit, I'm not that familiar with the vanilla game universities, although I'm pretty sure that's just about to change, and that will become apparent as we move down. So just move down to the next paragraph. It says the current tree is not final and we are going to add more research, and there is potential to add even more after the research will be added into the game, which means that you can expect even more researchable items than those available after the update will be released. We also need to consider some tweaks, and the current requirements for completing of research may be changed to make some research harder to obtain. So there is mostly three groups of research. One group is locking of already existing technologies and features, other is improvement or buffs of existing features, and another is unlocking access to current unavailable features or new features. So the next picture is showing the three universities. I'll just show it to you here. The one on the left is the medical university, the one in the center is the technical university, and the one on the right is the communist headquarters. I think the main takeaway from this is the fact that the days of just building a single university type is over, because of course the medical university at the moment and the communist HQ don't do research. So I think I include myself in this. I think the vast majority of players just build the technical university, do the research at the top here, which is mechanical components, chemicals, and I think this is electronics. Got a red cross with their pollution there. The one that does intrigue me is this one down here with trees on. I wonder whether they're adding the ability for an arborist to replant trees. That would make a big difference. But there's a lot of different icons in here. I'm assuming these will relate to health. I can guess from the bottles this is alcohol abuse. And then we got a whole load of stuff. Air traffic study. Not exactly sure what that is. Anyway, we're going to get more information as we go down, so I don't want to dwell too long. So we're just going to move down to the next paragraph. It says, you need to count in the technical university will not be the only viable university in the early game, as the technical university is used to unlock more advanced technology. Nowadays, you cannot produce chemicals, plastics, and mechanical components, electronic components, and electronics without research. But after the update, also steel production, oil refining, bauxite mining, green energy, and nuclear production chain will be locked, and each vehicle production line will require its own research. Additionally, the player will not have access to resource view on the minimap until the respective research has been done in the technical university. This means a player with active research feature will be quite limited in the early game and will have to choose which direction they want to go early. And over time, they can eventually complete all research programs. Just curious about the fact that, let me just go back up and look at this picture here. Oh yeah, we got a pickaxe here. I wonder if this is mining. There's also plants here. This is going to be a matter of choices, isn't it? Okay, we'll just move down. It says, after the research will be implemented, we can see that many players will choose to build the communist HQ as their first university, as this is required to unlock access to distribution offices and loyalty policies, which can be more important in the early game. Do not worry, you will still be able to use free distribution offices in the early game, even if only in a limited number, as bringing fuel into the free gas station would be a real problem without them. But without completing research in the Commonest HQ, there will also be no access to helicopters, large monuments, high quality living residentials, no radio broadcast, no tourism for your opponent, but there also be certain research that requires you to complete multiple preceding research programs in more than one university. That is, I think, is the real game changer, because one, it means you're going to have to choose between two universities. I think that definitely raises the case that we need a small version of the universities if we've got to be that flexible. And the research tree is going to require things to be unlocked in different universities. That means you're going to need, you can't be able to circumnavigate that. Also, the fact that we're only going to have a limited number of free distribution offices, and they're not very big. In some ways, for anyone who's only started playing recently, this almost takes us back to the early releases of the game when there were no distribution offices. So I'm going to have to start brushing up on running manual lines again, which is going to be fun. The picture here, let's just have a quick look at this picture here. Yeah, so wow, so we got nuclear, electronics, engineering, airline production. So effectively, the advanced technology tree, which is this kind of gear down here, will be completely locked at the beginning. The one question I will have with this is whether you can be able to bypass this with mods. So if you're playing realistic mode with mods, and you may have to say, right, I can't use this mod until I've done the research, but that's something we can look at. And then we're just going to down. It says, then there is the medical university that most players will skip in the early game, but later it can provide you with some broadly desired buffs for your citizens as your population with industrial output and pollution grows, which will help them be better sustain cold temperatures, pollution, lower the impact of alcohol consumption, and some kind of birth control. As you can see, the university offers buffs that are already existing mechanics connected to the citizens. But there is other research not necessary in the university, that other improvements for something that already is in the game. For example, you can use the research for pollution reduction, filters, fertilizing of fields, and sustainable forestry. Yes, that is music to my ears. Now, one thing I'm assuming is like reducing pollution could be global. So say you research it, and that would mean that it will reduce the pollution of all your factories. I'd guess fertilizing the fields is a whole new mechanic in itself. It's going to be interesting to see how that's implemented. And the big one there is sustainable forestry. That's always been one of my big bugbears, because if any of you follow my series, you know that I tend to go straight into forestry for some of the basics very early in the game, rather than going for the traditional coal. And I think that's going to make it even more sustainable. But I think before we look at the picture above, we're just going to read the next paragraph. It says, we are implementing a research tree in which we need to go through certain research to get the option to complete more advanced research. And the most advanced technologies like vehicle production lines, nuclear energy, and aluminium production will be last in their branch and will require significant investment into workforce, especially for small population. But as a bonus, you will be able to research some special border connection which you cannot currently build on your own in the game, like a Sovereign Western pipeline connection to export and import oil through pipes. Wow. In the picture below, you can see that the icons of the game in games research folder are currently have, but more may be added. So we're just going to, I like this idea of a border pipeline. Let's have a look here. This is just an example of the research tree. Obviously, I'm assuming that, and that if you move over these, you'll get hints. So it's also like that's mechanical components. This is coming down, and I presume that these are the connections. Yeah, OPEC. You got OPEC. You got oil pipelines there. Wow, that's going to be very interesting. I think what we'll do is we'll just take a quick look at the picture here and see what we've got. Apologies that you might not be able to read the print, but I'm just going to go through very quickly. This is going to be a long video. Wow. The first one that's hit my eye straight away, it says 18 megawatt pole rig. That means we're going to be restricted on our power lines. Advanced hospital standards, advanced hotel standards, advertising campaign. Wonder what they advertise. What if that will promote television and radio? Airport study, aircraft production, aluminium production, alcohol, Apex there, aluminium. Okay, big monuments, chemistry, broadcasting, containers. So it looks like you have to research it looks like you're going to have to research containers. It says, I presume that one's going to be birth control. Distribution offices, which would be a top priority. Electronics. It's got two electronics. I presume one will be components and one will actually be electronics. There's durable pane construction, which I presume would be the restriction. Interestingly, there, it looks like the electrical connections will be researchable as well. I wonder if that will allow us to build extra ones or whether the ones that are currently on the maps will disappear. That's going to be something there. But faculty geology, so the pickaxe is definitely finding resources. We've got a whole series of fire prevention here. I presume one's civil, one's industrial, one's residential, one's basic. So I mean, it looks like you'll be able to reduce the effect of fires. That could be quite useful. Health attack, heart. I presume that's meant to be heart attack prevention there. So we got a whole load of health issues. It looks like you're going to have to research the helicopter link for hospitals, pipeline pressure. Wow. There's just virology, vaccination. So I wonder, I mean, one of this was also going to be an introduction to increasing the strength of global events as well. Because at the moment, like an epidemic has very little impact as well. So we've got tourist visas. There's a lot here, guys, a vast amount here. So let's just read the final paragraphs. As you can see, with research implemented, you will no longer be able to do certain things without establishing your own population. Even some people may try to play it in a way that if it burns down, then it will just rebuild it. Do not worry, we have another feature for you in this case, which will be introduced further in future reports. And that is building demolition, which means that ruins will not disappear anymore, and with buildings and vehicle maintenance, which may require additional workforce. We hope you will like the challenges that we're preparing for you. And as always, you have a choice to play with or without research. We've also updated the current roadmap with ETAs for the release of information about upcoming features, and you can also check it here and switch it in the tab at the top of your website. Another piece of news is that Peter has started an Instagram account for Soviet Republic, and you will find the various behind the scenes glimpses and interesting facts about the game and its development on this channel. And that is all that we have for you today. Until next time, enjoy your life, have fun, and stay tuned for the next report. Wow, guys, this is a game changer. I think we're all going to go back basically to a brand new game when this next update drops, because we've got to remember we've got all this and we've also got waste management on top. And down here, if I can find it, building demolition there, which means that I wonder whether you're going to have to clear the site before you can rebuild. And also this one, vehicle maintenance. I have heard rumors about this. I've got no idea how this is actually going to work, but I would surmise it's going to be something like gas stations, but it would be a vehicle repair workshop. And that introduced the concepts that vehicles will degrade over time. I have a reservation about that in the fact that is there going to be a way that's going to make it easy to upgrade or replace vehicles? And also, what happens if you don't maintain a vehicle? Does it just break down in the side of the road and clutter up the traffic? Or is there going to be a way that you could recycle them? So that's going to be a very interesting mechanic to consider. Now, so you can see there's a lot to take in with respect to the research. And what I suggest is if you want to know the detail, certainly come and read the community report yourself. And the final point I would like to say is that I really hope that the devs are going to add at least small universities into the game, because if we've got to build these great big universities and have populations to sustain them, it's going to make the research a bit impractical when you're first starting out, especially as the fact that we're going to need to build, just come open this window again, we're going to have to build a headquarters here. I'm assuming the truck with the clock and down here will be the distribution offices, or we're going to have to build the commonest headquarters to unlock the distribution offices. But then relatively quickly, if we're going to expand, because What they didn't say about finding the resources, whether you could be able to detect them with a, say, an iron mine or a coal mine. So it means that fairly early on in the game, you're going to probably need 2 universities. And that's going to be a bit of a challenge if you're going to play on realistic mode. That is going to be very, very interesting. Final conclusion is that I think this community report effectively kills my current series. We're not going to be able to integrate all this into the existing series. Plus, the research is going to be a bit of a challenge as well. So I think this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed this quick report. Any comments, opinions, feel free to chuck it in the video description and we'll have a chat about it. I'll be very interested in your insights on this and whether you think it's a bit too far or whether it's about right and whether you're up for the challenge. And the other thing I will say, guys, is I've had a couple of comments of people who have been watching my tutorials about learning the game. And I think when this update drops, it's going to effectively wipe out any tutorial before. So what I'll probably do is once the update drops, or possibly during the beta phase, I'll start working on some videos to try and make sense of all this. But until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.